3AW.
I want cash, I need cash, I use cash. I want to go to an ATM. I certainly don't want to go into a bank because I can't find one anyway. Last September, the banks announced they were axing ATM fees, and the Herald Sun reports today, since then, they've cut 450 ATMs. Westpac 200, ANZ 130, NAB 115. Combank says they added 2. Are they doomed? Martin North, Principal Digital Finance Analytics. Good morning.
Good morning.
Will they go forever?
Well, they're certainly being less used. There's about a 25% reduction in the total amount of cash withdrawn from ATMs compared with a couple of years ago. And particularly in urban areas, more and more people are using pay and go or indeed mobile payment alternatives. So you'd have to argue that the ATM is definitely past its prime. Of course, in regional areas, there are perhaps few alternatives. And in fact, there, the volume of withdrawals is not dropping as quickly. So my concern is you end up with effectively ATMs being taken away from some areas where perhaps they're still very important.
That's interesting. We do a broadcast in regional Victoria. Are your ATMs your only way of getting cash? 96900 693 13 13 32. So if I want cash and there's no ATM, what do? Go to the supermarket?
Yeah, so that's the other thing that's happening. So a number of people are actually, taking cash out when they go to the supermarket. Or indeed, if the bank doesn't run an ATM, what you find quite often is that there are ATMs in some corner shops and garages. Now, the problem with those ATMs is they're run on a more commercial basis even than the banks. Yeah. So there are higher fees. So you end up, if you need cash, having to pay quite a lot more for it, or indeed, if you want to drive further to go to the ATM that exists. But here's the other problem. We're seeing the problem of the last person standing here. So if you've got three ATMs in a town, the banks are rushing to remove the ATM so they're not the one with the last one in the town, because then there's a sort of a social obligation and all the publicity of being the last in town. So there's a bit of a rush to the exits going on.
Interesting thing, Aussie Post has a social obligation, Telstra has a social obligation. Should we impose a social obligation on banks to say you must have a certain number of ATMs?
Well, I think there is a very important question here about what is the role of a bank, right? I mean, and the Royal Commission, I think, has brought this up indirectly in saying it's not just about profitability. There are some other factors which are important too, and I think there are some important social obligations. My own view is this, that the banking system should be there to help Australia grow and develop, and that consumers should be able to get what they want from the bank. So I think there is a social obligation, and my own view is that we are missing this very important perspective.
Thank you very much for talking to us. Martin North, Principal Digital Finance Analytics.